What's up, guys? So I want to talk about one of the most important mindset things when it comes to building your business that took me a while to overcome. So I have this video called The Fraud in the Room, which is in my course and all my clients get access to it. And it essentially talks about the conversation and the story that we have daily in our head, literally about every aspect of our life and business, personal branding. If you think about it, every waking moment, you have this voice, like this revolving voice in your head. Like that's who you're talking to in your head when you're like just talking to yourself. I don't know how much you guys do that, but I talk to myself like on a daily basis. People probably think I'm crazy. But anytime you're about to put out a piece of content, anytime you're about to launch something new or go into the unknown, you're always gonna have these fraudulent stories in your head, which is why I call it the fraud in the room, because most of the stories that we tell ourselves are just BS, right? Whether it's I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not capable enough, I don't have as many clients as this person has, I don't feel like I have enough experience, I'm too young. There's all kinds of stories that we tell ourselves that sabotage us from hitting that next level and making a ton of money. And so every single person has this fraud voice in their head, and these conversations that they have with themselves and these stories that they tell themselves. The only thing is, or the only difference between successful people and people who are like just getting started or who never have gotten started, is that the people who never got started or they're procrastinating, they're basically letting that fraud voice get in the way of them taking action. Like for me, I always had that voice. Everybody has that voice. There's a reason why maybe you guys don't charge what you should be. There's a reason why you don't post more authentically on camera, or you've never put out a video in general, or never built your brand. The reason is because you have those stories in your head, and you're essentially letting those stories dictate your actions and how you show up. So the only difference between me and other people is I basically took action despite all of those stories, despite the fraudulent voices in my head. And even at a high level, like whether you hit 10K, 20K, 50K per month, the crazy thing is I went throughout my life thinking that I had to show up as Coach Joe. I thought that I had to basically become a different person, like not myself, in order for people to accept me or trust me as a coach or invest into my programs or follow me on social media. I thought I basically had to portray an image. And I just assumed that people at the top, you look at all these big name entrepreneurs and coaches and influencers, I just assumed that they didn't have that fraudulent voice. So one huge mistake that I made is I thought that I had to completely destroy and get rid of this fraud voice, when in reality, it's literally a part of you. You're never going to completely get rid of it. Even the guys at the top, they still have doubts, they still have fears, they still have insecurities, they still have that voice in their head saying things that may be true, but a lot of stuff that's just still not true. The only thing is they're not talking about it. I don't see a lot of people on social media really talking about this in a vulnerable way. So we, from an outsider's view, we just assume, like, we just look at these people who have millions of followers and tons of fans making millions of dollars, and we just assume like, okay, they're super confident, so they must not have that voice. And you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, that voice. But the funny thing is they have that voice. We all have it. I still have it. It's just we don't let it affect us taking action. We still take action despite it. But even when I hit 10K a month, that voice still kicked in, like, okay, you hit 10K, cool, but how are we gonna do 15? Like, you're not qualified to do 15. Then I hit 15, then 20, then 30, then 40. It's like I continued to scale up and that voice was still there. So I was like, why is this fraudulent voice still there? I thought that if I hit 35K per month profit, that it was gonna disappear. I thought that when I hit a certain level of followers on my page, okay, now I'm an authority, and if I'm an authority, I can't have this voice. So I just thought something was wrong with me specifically, because I just assumed that everybody at the top got rid of the voice. When in reality, what they did is they, instead of getting rid of this voice, because you're never gonna be able to, instead what they did is they built a conversation, they built a relationship with this voice. They built a relationship with the stories in their head. So instead of saying like, hey, get the hell out of here. Like, instead of beating yourself up for having those stories, like let's say you're about to hop on a coaching call, or you're about to post a piece of content that's really genuine, or you're thinking about launching an offer or pitching somebody on a sales call or an enrollment call. Those stories are gonna pop up. Like, that stuff starts to turn in your head as these scenarios start to arise. But what people have done at the top to become successful is they just realize that that voice is there. Like, they just acknowledge, like, okay, the voice is here. Let's say you're in a car, just literally strap them in, instead of trying to kick them out, because it's part of you. You need to build a relationship with that fraud voice instead of trying to just completely get rid of it. So this whole time, I thought I couldn't be a leader. I thought that I couldn't lock in X amount of clients or build my brand or really get to the top of the top unless I literally destroyed and got rid of this fraud voice in my head. When in reality, all I had to do was acknowledge that this voice is here, and instead of trying to control it or get rid of it, I just had to build a relationship with it and essentially know that it's there and it's always going to be there. Of course it's going to be there. It's part of me. So I basically had to acknowledge this motto of course it's there, and you move on. This is part of you. So just want to put that out there, because as you're getting into this coaching space or you're getting into building a personal brand, you're going to have these stories. You're going to have the voice in your head saying, I'm not good enough, not qualified enough, don't have enough clients under my belt, don't have enough expertise, I'm too young, I'm too old, whatever it is. Everybody has stories, and we often use these stories as reasons not to do something, or reasons not to be as successful as we could be, or reasons not to put ourselves out there. When in reality, we just need to acknowledge that that's just part of who we are. And again, because of the fact that it's a fraud voice, 90% of what is said is just untrue. Like, for years, I wanted to launch my Bulletproof Branding Accelerator, and I procrastinated it because I thought I was too young. Like, I was 20 years old at the time, maybe even 19 when I was really thinking about it. And I didn't put it out there. I didn't launch it. I didn't officially post it and promote it because I had this story in my head that I'm too young. Why would people pay me $4,000 or $5,000 for a coaching program? It's like, yeah, sure, I have some knowledge and some expertise and value, but who am I to get a 40-year-old client, someone twice my age? And that story kept me from launching my offer for probably 3 years, right? Until like recently. And I wish I had done it sooner. So I don't want you guys to get in this cycle of having these stories in your head where 90% of the time it's just complete BS and totally untrue. I don't want that to stop you guys from taking action and living out your true potential. So what I want you guys to do is audit the stories in your head. Think about that list of things that your fraud voice is telling you or kind of planting those seeds. And I want you to audit if it's true, because most of the time what we tell ourselves is just BS. It's not true. And then what I want you to do is try to replace those stories with empowering stories, things that will actually serve you. So what I did is, at the time, I thought I was too young, so I don't have enough value to charge $4 or $5K. And instead I switched that. I said, because I was young, which I now use to my advantage, because I'm so young, I have a skill for social media. I literally grew up with it. I eat, breathe, and sleep social media, content, personal branding. And because I'm so young, I just get it. And so now when I hop on coaching calls, that's literally a strength of mine now. It's not a weakness. So for you guys, what are those stories that you're telling yourself negatively? And how is that keeping you from achieving your dreams? And how can we instead basically shift those to positive stories that are going to help you level up and achieve your potential?